Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ushna Arif Siddiqui and my roll number is PP1650246. My group number is 7. The topic on which I have prepared the case study is motion sickness. So first of all, what is motion sickness? Motion sickness is a common problem in people traveling by car, train, airplanes, and especially boats. Anyone can get it, but it is more common in children, pregnant women, and people taking certain medicines. Motion sickness can start suddenly with a queasy feeling and cold sweats. It can then lead to dizziness, nausea, and vomiting. So basically, it is a sensation of wooziness. That means you can get motion sickness when there are conflicts among your senses. Say that you are on a ride at a fair and it is spinning you around and upside down. Your eyes see one thing and your muscles feel another, and your inner ears sense something else. Your brain can't take in all those signals, that is why you end up feeling dizzy and sick. The pathogenesis of motion sickness is not clearly understood, but it is thought to be related to conflict between the vestibular, visual, and other proprioceptive systems. Rotatory, vertical, and low frequency motions produce more symptoms than linear, horizontal, and high frequency motions. Other than that, it can also cause lightheadedness, nausea. Some people learn early in their lives that they are prone to this condition. Now, what causes motion sickness? Your brain senses movement by getting signals from your inner ears, eyes, muscles, and joints. When it gets signals that do not match, you can get motion sickness. For example, if you are reading on your phone while riding a bus, your eyes are focused on something that is not moving, but your inner ear senses motion. You maintain balance with the help of signals sent by many parts of your body. For instance, your eyes and ears. Other sensory receptors in your legs and feet let your nervous system know what parts of your body are touching the ground. So basically, conflicting signals can cause motion sickness. It can also depend that where you sit can make a difference, like the front seat of the car, forward cars of a train, upper deck on a boat, or wing seats in a plane may give you smoother ride. Looking out into the distance instead of trying to read or look at something in the vehicle can also help. There are some preventions like do's and don'ts through which we can prevent motion sickness. So the do's are reduce motion, sit in the front of a car or in the middle of a boat to maintain your balance or to maintain that. Look straight ahead at a fixed point such as the horizon. Breathe the fresh air if possible, for example by opening a car window. The don'ts are do not read, watch films like those who are really prone to this motion sickness, or use electronic devices. Do not look at moving objects such as passing cars or rolling waves. Do not eat heavy meals, spicy foods, or drink alcohol shortly before or during travel. Now, the symptoms. What are symptoms? It's usually causes an upset stomach. Other than that, cold and dizziness. The person may become pale for having headache, nausea, and vomiting, and also the loss of maintaining of your balance. These all are the symptoms of motion sickness. For the treatment, several medication exist, but mostly prescribed is that hyoscine hyobromide, which is also commonly known as scopolamine. It is basically for motion sickness. Other than that, we can also give dimenhydrinate, which is marketed as Dramamine or Gravol. Now, the case study is that we have a patient named PC. So, PC is a 27-year-old woman who has no significant medical history with the exception of moderate dysmenorrhea and motion sickness associated with travel by air. Previously, she has taken dimenhydrinate before airplane trips with moderate success. She is engaged to be married, and she and her fiance have decided on a week-long Caribbean cruise for their honeymoon. PC is concerned that she may also develop seasickness and that dimenhydrinate may control her symptoms, particularly in the event of rough weather at sea. Will PC be at high risk of motion sickness? Now we'll discuss in the soap notes. Now, SOAP notes, first we have the subjective, in which we have the patient's age, which is that 27 years old. Also, the patient have a medical history with moderate dysmenorrhea and motion sickness associated with travel by air, for which she is taking dimenhydrinate. The objective is that as patient is concerned that she may also develop seasickness and dimenhydrinate may control her symptoms or not. So I think because of patient history and her travel plans, she is at higher risk of recurrence of her motion sickness symptoms. Now the assessment is that we can give anticholinergic agents or antihistamines to the patient that effectively prevent and treat motion sickness, as scopolamine is an anticholinergic, so I think we can give that. Now what is our plan? Our plan is that a patient is susceptible individual in a moderate severe stimulus situation, so we can give her scopolamine. Scopolamine has been well studied for the prevention of motion sickness and is highly effective. It is available as a topical patch which bypasses the uh, problem of GI symptoms associated with motion sickness. Scopolamine is less likely than dimenhydrinate to affect the psychomotor performance sufficiently cross the blood-brain barrier. The scopolamine patch we are giving her is that should be applied behind the ear every 3 days, starting 6 to 8 hours before departure. Also, if she experiences breakthrough symptoms, dimenhydrinate or promethazine can be recommended as well, as she has already taken it. Other than that, she should be advised about the potential adverse effects of these agents, which include drowsiness, confusion, and dry mouth. Also, natural remedies for motion sickness, such as the riding in the middle of the boat or plane where motion is less dramatic, lying in the recumbent position fixed in the region in the horizon, avoid reading close the eyes below decor in the cabin can also be applied. That's all. Thank you.